First, we're going to look at why solids change to liquids. Have you ever been sitting out by the pool trying to eat a popsicle on a hot summer day and it is melting faster than you can eat it? Well, today we are going to discover why in the world this happens. First off, it is important to know that everything is made up of these little things called particles. And particles are in your clothes, a chocolate bar, the carpet, a glass of water, ice. They're in everything. And they are so small that we cannot even see them with our naked eye. So it is important to know what particles are because they are the reason our popsicle melts on a hot summer day. Looking at my illustration, we see a chocolate bar on the left. Then we can see how I drew an arrow and put a flame in a hot plate to show how we are heating the chocolate. As we continue to move our eyes to the right, we see how the heat that I applied caused the chocolate to melt. Well, why did this happen? Well, the particles in a solid are packed tightly together. They can barely move. The illustration below the solid chocolate bar represents particles inside the chocolate bar that we cannot see with our naked eye. So, the reason the chocolate bar is a solid is because the particles are packed tightly together, as seen in the picture. As heat is added to the chocolate bar, the molecules get excited and begin to move around. As the heat continues to increase, the molecules move faster and faster, causing the structure of the molecules to loosen. As the molecules loosen, the chocolate begins to lose its shape, making it a liquid. So as you can see in the illustration, the molecules or the particles in the liquid are beginning to get excited and spread out. So why does a solid turn to a liquid when heat is added? Because the molecules get so excited they lose control and spread out, causing the solid to lose its structure, making it a liquid. Now we are going to look at the opposite. First, we looked at how solids can become liquids. Now we are going to look at how liquids can become solids. As a liquid becomes cooler, the molecules of a liquid slow down enough that their attractions cause them to arrange into fixed positions. As we already discussed, when the molecules are in a fixed position, they are a solid. So, as we can see through the illustration, the chocolate bar is melted, is a liquid because the particles are excited and spread out because they must have previously experienced heat. As we move to the right, we see how we place the melted chocolate in cooler temperatures, either an ice cooler or a cooler room. When we place the melted chocolate in the ice, it becomes a solid, again, because the molecules slow down and arrange themselves back into a fixed position. So just like when solids get excited and spread out when they encounter heat, liquids slow down and regroup back into a solid when they experience cooler temperatures. Changes in heat can also cause evaporation and condensation. Evaporation is when a liquid turns into a gas. Have you ever seen a puddle of water during the day and then when you go back a few hours later, the puddle is gone? Well, this is because of the process of evaporation. The heat from the sun heats up the particles inside the water. When the particles are heated up, they begin to move faster and spread out. Eventually, it gets to the point where they are hot enough and evaporate. In other words, the puddle turns from a liquid to a gas. So the water that was in the puddle is now water vapor in the atmosphere. Water vapor is a form of gas. The gas has no shape and is just out in the air roaming freely. Once the water vapor gets high enough in the atmosphere, the cooler temperatures in the atmosphere will cause the water vapor to condensate. In other words, the gas turns back into a liquid. The particles in the water vapor get cooler, slow down, and eventually form back into liquid particles. This is when we get little water droplets. We can make a connection to evaporation and condensation through the water cycle. In the water cycle, we start with a body of water, say a river. In a river, water is in a liquid form. But it does not stay like this for long. Because of the heat and energy from the sun, water molecules are evaporated from the river, causing the water to turn into water vapor, or a gas. This water vapor is now roaming freely in the atmosphere. As water vapor rises up in the sky, cooler temperatures cause it to condensate, or turn from a gas or water vapor into a liquid in the clouds. Clouds are a bunch of condensated water. After a while, the condensated water will fall on the ground, and this process is called precipitation. During any step of this process, if the temperature drops below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, that will cause the precipitation on the ground to turn into ice or water, which would become a solid. Now the water is back on the ground and the process will start again. The water will evaporate, condensate, and then precipitate.